Have you ever wondered why Scorpio seems to carry an energy that no one else understands? Why, among all the signs of the zodiac, only it is involved in deep mysteries, sacred silences, and a force that scares even the most spiritually prepared? There is a forbidden secret, long hidden between the veils of time and space, a secret that connects Scorpion directly to the figure of Anubis, the Egyptian god of the dead and soul transitions. And no, this is not just astrology. It is prophecy. It is ancestral energy. It is a marked destination. Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet, was one of the few who dared to reveal. Scorpion is not just intensity. He is a seal, a portal, a spiritual symbol of death and rebirth that carries the weight of entire civilizations. While other signs live on the surface, Scorpio walks between the lines of existence, feels what no one feels. He sees what no one dared to look. And that is why it was chosen to deal with what other signs would not bear to face. But what does it really mean to be marked by Anubis? What is the spiritual role that Scorpio plays on the journey of the human soul? Why was this connection hidden for so long, as if the world was not ready to face the truth? You may have never heard it before, but if you are Scorpion, or feel that you carry this silent and transformative force within you, this revelation has not come to you by chance. Comment here if you have felt that you were born with something different, because what will be revealed below will completely change the way you see your own existence. If at some point in your life you have felt that you carry an invisible strength, an intensity that you can't even explain, so you need to stay here. This content is not a common video. It is a spiritual call, a revelation that goes beyond traditional astrology. What is about to be revealed can resonate with the oldest and most forgotten part of your soul. So before continuing, stop a second and comment, "I feel that energy." This phrase is not just a comment, it is a seal, a spiritual recognition that you are ready to awaken what has always been asleep within you. Your participation here has a purpose. When you comment, enjoy, and subscribe, you activate much more than the algorithm. You activate the movement of those who are ready to remember who they really are. Each like is a spiritual echo that reverberates in the field of those who also need to hear this truth. Each registration is a step on your reconnection journey with the invisible. And if you got here, it's because something in you already knows. None of this is by chance. So, enjoy this video now to seal your presence. Subscribe to continue to receive messages that don't just come from me, but something much deeper, and comment on if you have felt signs, dreams, or presences that seem to guide you silently. This is not superstition, it is spiritual memory, and the following revelation will prove you that. Have you ever had the feeling of being in the right place but in the wrong time? To look around and realize that, although everything seems normal, is there anything inside you that does not fit what others call reality? Perhaps in silence, you have always carried a subtle certainty that your soul is older than your body, deeper than the roles that society tries to make you live. What if this feeling is more than a loose thought? What if you, in fact, had never been just human? Many who were born under the sign of Scorpio report this: a constant discomfort with the superficial, a silent restlessness that accompanies them since childhood. Early on, Scorpio doesn't just seek answers. He feels he already knows questions that others have not dared to ask. This intuition, this emotional and psychic depth, this silence that speaks more than words, is not random. It is the echo of an old mission, a call that crosses lives, cultures, and times, like a spiritual vibration that can only be felt by those who were somehow marked. Edgar Cayce, known as the sleeping prophet, believed that certain souls came to the world with hidden codes, not to live ordinary lives, but to arouse archetypes. He said that Scorpio not only represents the Renaissance, but carries in itself the ability to move between the visible and invisible worlds. And this gift is not born without a price. It comes with deep pain, intense cycles of loss and regeneration, inexplicable loneliness, and an almost supernatural ability to detect lies, energies, and intentions. When we talk about the energy of Anubis, we are playing in one of the most mysterious layers of the spiritual universe. Anubis is not a symbol of death, as many think. He is the guardian of the transition, the deity that leads souls in the moments of passage. What Pukas know is that, energetically, Scorpion shares this function. Scorpion did not come to cling, came to transform. He came to die and reborn several times in a single life. And that explains why so many people in this sign face early pain, symbolic mourning, abrupt losses, betrayals, and reconstruction processes that never seem to end. But what if these pains are not just obstacles? What if they are spiritual initiations? And if, at the moment it seemed to be crumbly, you were actually prepared? Being Scorpio, or carrying this scorpion energy dominantly on your map, is not living linearly. It is being constantly crossing. It is knowing that each crisis is a disguised opportunity, that each silence keeps an answer, and that each shadow reveals a new fragment of light. Many of you, when you hear this, will remember strange dreams, of visions, of pretendances, of goosebumps that do not know how to explain, of times when they knew something would happen, and it happened. This is no coincidence. It is spiritual sensitivity. It is instinctive mediumship. Scorpio is the sign that communicates with the invisible without needing words, that listens to the voices of the subtle world even in the noise of matter. May you present danger, detects falsehoods, and at the same time, carries a silent empathy for all who suffer, even if it does not say one word. This ancestral energy often manifests itself through loneliness. Scorpios feel displaced in groups even when they are loved. They carry guilt that is not their own, pain that do not explain, and a sense of mission that cannot name. But they feel they are here for something bigger, that there is a spiritual responsibility is not said, a surrender to something that has not yet been fully revealed, but that pulsates inside the chest with the strength of a call. If you have felt like an observer within your own life, as if you were just visiting this plan, as if you've lived it all before but otherwise in another body in another time, maybe it's because this is not your first passage. Perhaps it is because your soul is here with a purpose that goes beyond logic and visible. And that is why understanding the connection between Scorpio and Anubis is not just an astrological study. It is a reunion with an inner truth that you may always have loaded, but never knew how to explain. When you hear about portals, spiritual rebirths, old rituals, connection with subtle plans, something within you awakens. It is like recognized by something bigger, and that doesn't happen to everyone, but it happens to who was sealed with this energy, with whom it carries this mystery in the look, this intensity and touch, this depth in the soul. And if this vibration is shivering you now, if you felt that every word was written for you, then comment now. I'm not just here, or I feel the energy of Anubis in me. Comment now on these phrases if they echo within your spirit. And if what has been said so far has touched you in some way, enjoy this video. This is not just support, it is a way of confirming that you felt. And subscribe, because what is to come will reveal secrets that only the chosen ones will understand. Leave in the comments your stronger experience with the invisible, a dream, a feeling, a memory that has no logical explanation. This exchange here is more than engagement. It is part of the collective awakening of those who were called. Now, if at some point in this video you felt a silent chill, a memory that seemed not just yours, an old pain you never knew how to explain, maybe this is not just spiritual content. Perhaps it is a reunion with something that has lived in you for a long time. And so, I invite you to download my digital book, The 7 Hidden Spiritual Wounds of Your Zodiac Sign and How to Heal Them Before 2026. This book does not talk about what is on the surface. He reveals what has been hidden, the energetic wounds that each sign carries, and how they shape their relationships, blockages, failures, and even the emptiness you feel unknowingly. Why? It is a healing map, a portal of understanding. You may not know how to put it in words, but you feel. He feels something has been calling you for a long time, and now you're starting to hear. The link is in the first comment fixed. But beware, access is limited and can go down at any time. If you got here, don't ignore that sign. It is no coincidence. It's because this may be the time to face your pain and finally start your release. Go to the first comment and download it now. Your awakening can start today. Scorpio never had the privilege of lightness. While other signs move through life as if it were just a sequence of events, Scorpio dives. From an early age, the world does not look like a friendly place for those born with a marked soul, the symbol of the serpent and scorpion. There is always a feeling that something needs to be overcome, overcome, understood in depth. And when this is not possible, silence comes. A silence that is often not a choice, but an imposition of its own soul that needs to protect itself, collect itself, transform itself. The pain does not come from outside. She is born from the inside, as if he was already waiting, as if part of the spiritual package that accompanies this incarnation. Scorpion feels pain as a call, and this is much deeper than it seems. The losses that are repeated, the intense relationships that end abruptly, the friendships they betray, the ties that break themselves when the most support. None of these situations are random. Everything carries a spiritual function, even if it takes time to be perceived. Scorpion did not come to Earth to live like others. He came to reborn inside his own body. It came to die emotionally, several times, and reborn more strongly, more intuition, more connection with the invisible. And this cycle is only bearable because there is a very strong spiritual instinct supporting this journey. Even when everything looks dark, Scorpio knows somewhere inside him that he needs to continue. This spiritual awareness is not born of books or doctrines. She is internal, silent, almost ancestral, and often it's lonely. Those who are born under this vibration learn early that not everyone will understand their depth. Not everyone will be able to deal with their intensity. Therefore, Scorpio becomes observant, cautious, mysterious, not because he wants to be distant, but because he learned from an early age that showing his essence is dangerous. Not everyone knows how to deal with what they confront, and Scorpio confronts just existing. He is mirror of the shadow of others. It is a reflection of the truths that many try to hide, and it bothers you, scares, but it also attracts, because the same force that repels is the one that heals. This painful mission, then, is also a process of spiritual refinement. Each fall is a test. Each betrayal is a clearance. Each renaissance is a chance to climb an extra step in the invisible ladder of the evolution of the soul. And no, it's not easy. Sometimes all Scorpion wants to stop, to give up, surrender to tiredness. But there is always an inner voice, or an outer sign, that prevents him from surrender completely. And this sign is often the energetic presence of something larger, of a guardian, of an invisible force that whispers in the moments of greater despair. This force in many cases carries the frequency of Anubis. Anubis, the Egyptian god of the dead, is much more than a symbol of passage. It represents what is incorruptible in the soul, what is neither lost with pain, nor with physical death. When Scorpio feels that it is between worlds, it is because it is really. Your spiritual field accesses plans that other signs do not even imagine. He can feel when something will happen. He presents the lie before the word is said. He perceives changes in the air, energy movements, signs coming in dreams, visions, sudden intuitions. And all this, although it seems like a burden, is part of your gift. A spiritual gift built on pain, but which generates wisdom. What few know is that Scorpio is a spiritual curator, but his healing process begins with himself, and that's why it's so long. He must first purify his own wounds to become a healing instrument for others, and this process forces him to deconstruct many times. There is no fixed version of Scorpion. Each phase of your life represents a completely different version from the previous one, and this is not instability. It is depth in motion. Scorpio is always going deeper, always crossing another layer, always dying and reborn in cycles that only make sense to those who live this energy inside. This refined pain turns it into a guardian of what is invisible. He understands people like no one else. Even when he says nothing, he feels the truth before it is exposed. He carries a silent force that intimidates but at the same time welcomes, because Scorpio knows what it is to fall, and knows what it is to rise without anyone around. He knows the bottom of the well, and that's exactly why you can extend your hand to those who are there too. Your compassion does not come from speech. It comes from the experience, and its strength is not made of arrogance, but scars. So if you got here and felt that each word seemed to talk about your life, it may be because this mission is yours too. You may have come to remember that pain has purpose, that silence hides messages, that the losses, however cruel, are portals for more authentic versions of oneself. And may your journey, as lonely as it seems, have never really been lonely. There is strength accompanying you. There are presences that watch you in silence. There are spiritual stamps in your soul that will still be activated in time, right? If this part of the video has resonated with you, comment now. I recognize my mission, or the pain has shaped me spiritually. These phrases are not just words, they are energy statements. And if you felt this truth, enjoy this video now. This helps this message to come to other souls, who also need to remember who they are. And if you are not already registered, subscribe. This journey is just beginning, and what comes next will play even deeper layers of your spirit. Share in the comments a pain that turned you, or a time when you realized that your soul was older than your age. This space here is sacred, and your words can light something in the heart of those who are reading now. Don't waste more time living with this burden. Guarantee now your digital book, The 7 Hidden Spiritual Wounds of Your Zodiac Sign and How to Heal Them Before 2026, and find out how to apply these powerful teachings in your daily life. Attention! The stock is limited and is running out quickly. Click now and start your journey towards the trust you deserve. Do you sometimes feel like you were in two places at the same time? As if your physical presence were here, but your soul would place in dimensions that few can access? Perhaps this was never crazy. Perhaps it is just the reflection of a spiritual brand that you carry since before you were born. When we talk about the energy of Anubis, we are not only evoking a mythological name, we are accessing a deep spiritual archetype, a vibrational code that belongs to a sacred lineage. Anubis was not a god among others. He was, and still is, the guardian of the portals between worlds, the bridge between the visible and the invisible, the silent guide that leads souls among the kingdoms. And it was exactly this frequency that touched Scorpio, not by chance, not by luck, nor for common merit. It was by resonance. Among all the signs of the zodiac, only Scorpion shares this rare and ancestral ability to walk between the two worlds without getting lost, to carry the reflection of the darkness and light in the eyes, not to deny the shadow but understand it, inhabit and transmute it. While the other signs seek clarity, Scorpio was born with the flashlight in his hands, but not a flashlight that illuminates for others to see, a flashlight that reveals what no one wants to see. This is why the energy of Anubis chose it, not to be worshipped, but to be guardian. Egyptian tradition is clear. Anubis seized no warriors, neither kings nor ordinary healers. He seized spiritual guardians, souls with the ability to withstand pain without breaking, to cross symbolic death without despairing, to dive into the abyss without losing their own identity. Anubis recognized in the eyes of these beings a silent firmness, an invisible readiness. And this same energy, this same spiritual function, is reflected in the Scorpion archetype. Scorpion did not come to live on the surface. It came to protect the veils that separate worlds, to watch the boundaries between what is matter and what is spirit, to receive, take care, and transmit the hidden codes that few have maturity to carry. That's why Scorpio attracts so much intensity in everything: relationships, emotions, perceptions. Nothing is warm for those who carry the energy of Anubis, because everything that comes to it carries the seal of transmutation. People transform after connecting with Scorpion. Situations reveal themselves. Masks fall. Secrets emerge. It is as if the simple Scorpion presence is already a field of activation, a ritual presence even without conscious intention. Scorpio's silence speaks. Scorpio's gaze judges, welcomes, and reveals. And sometimes all this happens at the same time, because he doesn't see just what is in front. He sees beyond. He feels what is hidden behind the words, in the details of the unsuccessful, between the lines of the human spirit. This ability to perceive what is subtle, to move between plans and welcome what no one else sees, makes Scorpio lonely, but not alone. There is a difference. Scorpion loneliness is not the result of the absence of company, but of the absence of resonance. Not everyone is ready to inhabit the internal places that Scorpio visits frequently. Not everyone supports the intensity of the truth he carries. Therefore, the energy of Anubis accompanies him in silence, not to speak for him, but to remember that he doesn't have to be understood. He needs to be righteous, because your mission is not to be accepted. It is protecting what is not yet ready to be revealed. There is an old wisdom that says that those who see in the dark should not scream light. They must protect the silence. And Scorpio, even in the midst of the emotional chaos around him, understands that. There are truths that need to be kept, that there are mysteries that cannot be delivered to anyone, that there are secrets that are not the ones to be discovered. And that is why the connection with Anubis is so powerful and so hidden, because it does not manifest itself with fuss. She reveals herself in times of crossing, when a soul is about to break with the old one, when a spiritual truth is about to emerge, when one cycle is about to die for another to be born. And Scorpio is there, as a presence, as a bridge, as a mirror, not to lead the soul as a master, but to observe in silence, offering invisible protection, just as Anubis did with those who crossed the portal between life and death in ancient Egypt. Because this is the guardian's mission, not to prevent transformation, but to ensure that it happens rightly, with respect, with dignity, with spiritual conscience. And this is only possible when you have the strength to support the invisible, when you have the invisible seal, when it is completely part of the invisible. If what you heard now touched you, if you felt a shiver for no reason, or remembered moments where you seemed to carry something you couldn't name, so maybe this truth always lived in you. Comment now on, "I am a guardian," or "I carry the mark of Anubis." These phrases are more than comments. They are activation codes. And if you felt this energy in your heart, like this video to help this message find other sealed souls. Subscribe now, because in the next stretch of this journey, we will reveal what Anubis entrusted only to the spiritually awake, to the Scorpions. And I want you to be with me to the end. Share in the comments if you already felt that you protect something you don't even understand completely, because you may be about to remember why. Don't waste more time living with this burden. Guarantee now your digital book, The 7 Hidden Spiritual Wounds of Your Zodiac Sign and How to Heal Them Before 2026, and find out how to apply these powerful teachings in your daily life. Attention, the stock is limited and is running out quickly. Click now and start your journey towards the trust you deserve. Edgar Cayce, often called the Sleeping Prophet, was not an ordinary man. His visions went beyond time, logic, and religion. He saw what had not yet happened but already existed spiritually. He did not interpret the world with only words or theories. He directly accessed the spiritual records of the human soul. In his deepest and most poorly publicized prophecies, Cayce talked about the presence of souls who were born sealed with a collective call, souls who came not only to live their personal stories, but to act as planetary transition instruments. And among these souls, he mentioned Scorpio's energy as one of the most enigmatic and powerful. According to Cayce, some signs are portals, but Scorpion is the crossing. It is he who holds the ends when the world collapses. It is he who guides when the lights go out. When everything is collapsing, relationships, systems, structures, Scorpio is called to assume its true role, that of collective transformation channel. This is not a choice. This is mission. A mission that is not announced with trumpets, but that pulsates silent in the bottom of the chest since childhood. Scorpion feels that. He knows he has been sent to something that goes beyond the ego itself, that his falls have never been just personal, and that his pains are often mirrors of pain that are in the collective unconscious of humanity. This truth is not comfortable, much less easy to accept, because carrying a mission of collective transformation implies giving up many things. It implies being prepared to be misunderstood, judged, excluded, or even feared. And Cayce knew that. He said that Scorpion souls carry a density that is not negative, but necessary. They are called to enter where no one wants to enter, to play wounds that everyone avoids, to dissolve patterns that sustained centuries of spiritual ignorance, and all this without losing your own axis, without losing its own light. Scorpio energy, according to Cayce's prophecies, is deeply linked to the Eris cycle, in particular, the moments of end and start. When a civilization reaches its exhaustion point, it is Scorpio who leads the process of spiritual death and energy rebirth. It represents the snake that changes skin, the phoenix symbol that burns in ashes and rises renewed. This happens on personal scales, yes, in affective lives, in existential crises and family losses, but it also happens on collective scales such as wars, empires' falls, social collapses. And it is in these moments that the Scorpion spirit comes into action. Scorpio's mission in this sense is painful but necessary. He needs to see before. You need to feel what has not yet been said. You need to carry the tension between what no longer serves and what has not been born yet. This transition zone, This empty space between the end and the beginning is the territory where Scorpio operates. Cayce talked about it as a vibrational threshold, a field where only spiritually prepared can remain without madness. Scorpio not only remains, he dominates this space. He finds his purest function there. He recognizes himself in this vacuum. Because he is this vacuum, it is this channel between worlds. And perhaps that is why, often, those who have strong Scorpio influence on their map feel a sadness that has no explanation, a silent melancholy that is not depression. It is lucidity. It is the awareness of carrying the weight of a process that no one sees, but everyone lives. Cayce said that these individuals often live lives disconnected from the surface, as if nothing here were enough. They are not content with banality. They can't stand the shallow. They look for something more, even without knowing what. And this search is not vanity. It is memory. It is a remnant of an ancient call that the soul has not yet forgotten. Therefore, Scorpio is attracted to the hidden, by mysteries, by spirituality, not because he wants to feel special, but because he intuits that there are hidden truths, pieces that are missing in the puzzle of existence. He is the sign that is not satisfied with the first layer. He digs, he investigates, he probes the invisible, and often finds answers that hurt him, but they free him, because this is the nature of true spiritual knowledge. He first deconstructs, then rebuilds, and Cayce knew that Scorpion souls were prepared for this process. When Cayce looked at the astral maps of those who considered mission bearers, he saw repetitions, houses linked to death, transformation, deep spirituality, planets in water signs, aspects that revealed intense intuitive skills. He saw Scorpio not as a sign but as a seal, a code, a frequency, a call, and he claimed that when these individuals awakened to who they really are, global changes would happen, not because they would make noise, but because they would be presence. And the presence of an awake Scorpion spirit is something that changes the field around. It is magnetic, it is inevitable, it is activating. If you felt, at some point in this video, that all this spoke directly to you, if your body reacted with shins, sighs, or sudden memories, maybe it's not a coincidence. Maybe your soul already know. Comment now on, "I am part of transformation," or "Scorpion guide in the shadows." These phrases are more than words. They are confirmations that you recognize what has always been within you. If this truth touched you, like this video and subscribe, because what Edgar Cayce revealed is just the beginning. There are still hidden truths waiting to be remembered. Share in the comments if you feel you always had a mission even without knowing what it was. This sharing may be the missing key for someone to wake up. Don't waste more time living with this burden. Guarantee now your digital book, The 7 Hidden Spiritual Wounds of Your Zodiac Sign and How to Heal Them Before 2026, and find out how to apply these powerful teachings in your daily life. Attention, the stock is limited and is running out quickly. Click now and start your journey towards the trust you deserve. You may have lived in silence for years, not understanding, unable to explain. That feeling that something observes you but not with threat, with familiarity. A cold in the spine when it enters certain places. Goosebumps from nowhere, but that you feel in response to some invisible presence. Perhaps you have already avoided talking to this with others, afraid of looking strange, exaggerated, or even out of reality. But what if these signs are precisely the reminder of the energy you carry? What if this sensitivity, which many try to silence, is the living mark of their spiritual link with the invisible? Scorpion, as guardian of the portals, not only sees the darkness, he recognizes her, he feels it, and so it attracts signs that other people ignore or find irrelevant. Dreams that repeat themselves with old symbols, eyes shining in the dark, stairs that have no end, tunnels, temples, mazes, snakes, portals floating in the sky, places where gravity seems to change. Have you ever dreamed of it? Have you woke up with the feeling that that dream was not just a dream? What did you have a message? That someone showed you something, but you couldn't remember when you wake up? This is common in those who carry the Scorpio spiritual seal. Because the spirit that lives this mission is not limited to the physical plane, it moves between worlds, including during sleep. Another evident sign of this energy is premonitions. those sudden impressions that arise without rational explanation, an inner voice that says, "Don't go this way," an image that comes up suddenly and then confirms days later, an inexplicable anguish before something happens, an intuition that makes you change your hey at the last minute. These manifestations, although they seem subtle, are direct expressions of the energy field that surrounds you. Scorpio, especially when spiritually awake, is a vibrational radar, captures what is still forming, detects cracks in the energy field of places, realizes when there is something wrong, even if everyone says it's all right. He feels in his body what the spirit has already realized, and when this happens, it is common to feel muscle tension, inexplicable pain, sudden fatigue, or even the feeling that something will happen. Have you noticed that your presence changes the environment? What people reveal secrets to you without your order? What strangers look at you as if they recognize you from somewhere? This is not by chance. Scorpio emits a vibration that resonates with hidden truths. He is, by nature, a mirror of the unconscious of others, and those who are before a spiritual mirror feel the urge to reveal what they hide, even without understanding why. As Scorpions, awakened cause this effortlessly. They access the deep layers of the other simply being who they are, because the energy they carry acts beyond the word. She is silent but stark, invisible but penetrating, intense but welcoming. It is the type of energy that transforms, and transformation always begins with revelation. Some also report the constant feeling of being guided, as if something or someone were there, leading their steps at crucial moments. An accident that was avoided for seconds, an unexpected encounter that changed the course of life, a decision that seemed wrong but later proved essential. It is as if an invisible force is always taking care, guiding, testing, and this force may well be the archetypal manifestation of the covenant with Anubis. The protection of the invisible proves to be this way, not with shows, but with synchronicities, coincidences that are actually confirmations. And if you look at your story sincerely, you may realize that your life was sown by these sacred accidents, moments when the invisible repositioned you, even without you realizing it. Also, there is something very deep in the eyes of those who carry this energy, a look that bothers some, but heals others, a look that seems to cross masks, invade defenses, and touch the essence. You may have already felt that. Perhaps it even tried to soften your presence to be more accepted, more accessible. But the truth is that you were not made to please. It was made to activate. Your vibration, even when you are silent, is like a lighthouse for other lost souls. You light memories in whom you have forgotten who you are. You wake up to those who still sleep. And this gift, however difficult to carry, is exactly your spiritual signature, the living proof that you have never been here by chance. If, throughout this video, you have felt that all this is talking directly to you, if each sentence brought out memories that seemed forgotten, or if you had that tightness in the chest that only appears when something true is touched, then comment now, "I carry this energy." Or if you want to affirm your awakening, write, "I accept my Scorpion mission." These words are not just phrases for the algorithm, they are energy vows. They are keys that activate portals within you. And if this energy has resonated in your soul, enjoy this video now and subscribe, because in the next stage of our journey, we will access revelations that even the initiates avoid facing. Share here in the comments. What was the biggest sign you have ever received from the invisible? That experience that made you question everything, but deep down, confirmed you who you are. Its story may be the memory that another soul needed to awaken. Don't waste more time living with this burden. Guarantee now your digital book, The 7 Hidden Spiritual Wounds of Your Zodiac Sign, and how to heal them before 2026, and find out how to apply these powerful teachings in your daily life. Attention, the stock is limited and is running out quickly. Click now and start your journey towards the trust you deserve. There is a spiritual truth that few dare to face. The same force it protects can also silence. The same energy that guides can also move away. This does not happen by punishment, but as a result of an internal rupture, a disconnection between being and its mission. And Scorpio, more than any other sign, feels it with overwhelming intensity, because the spiritual protection that Scorpio receives is not generic, it is directed, ritualistic, loaded with purpose and vibrational alignment. When it is in essence, Scorpio is an open channel between worlds. But when it betrays this essence, when you try to fit into a mold that was not done to it, something begins to silence inside. It's subtle at first. An intuition that was once clear begins to fail. Those prophetic dreams, those who seemed clear messages from the invisible become confused, shuffled. Energy perception, once sharp as a blade, begins to oscillate. Synchronics disappear. The protection bells decrease. And what was a safe crossing before, even in the middle of chaos, becomes a path full of falls. Scorpion, when he moves away from his own depth, becomes vulnerable to the abyss he was born to watch. He is no longer the guardian and becomes the prey of his own shadows. This happens when Scorpio tries to be common, when trying to ignore your spiritual sensitivity, when it is involved in relationships that do not respect your soul, when you live in the automatic, when it adapts to what is shallow just to feel accepted, when he represses his foreboding for fear of seeming too intense, when you shut up your instinct, which has always been your most faithful spiritual compass. Each of these attitudes weakens the connection with the invisible protection field that has always accompanied it. And more than that, it attracts interference, confusion, dense energy. Because when Scorpio denies his mystical nature, he opens the guard. And when the guard is open, everything enters, including what it should not. Scorpio was born with a radar. He captures, he realizes. But this gift requires responsibility. It is not any gift. It is a seal of service. And when this seal is ignored, the spiritual energy that feeds it also collects itself. Scorpion cannot live as if it did not feel. You can't pretend you don't see. It cannot be deceived for long with social masks, because your spirit was sealed to act between the lines of reality. And denying this is like cutting your own root. The result is a growing void, a sense of loss of meaning, a feeling that life is disconnected, even if it seems to be in place. And here is the most delicate point of this journey. Many Scorpions move away from their own essence precisely for fear of rejection, for feeling that no one understands them, for tiring to carry the weight of feeling everything with such intensity, because they wish, even for a moment, rest. But what they have not yet realized is that their strength is exactly in this feeling, that your mission is in this dive, that his spiritual protection is activated when he accepts to be who he is in full. The Scorpion call is not to be normal, it's to be a channel. It is to be a bridge. It is to be the one who enters the dark with the lantern. When Scorpio honors this, even if in silence, even if alone, he is supported by something that cannot be named. It becomes untouchable. It may be tested, but it will never be broken. It may fall, but it will always rise. Because its protection does not come from the external world. It comes from internal spiritual coherence. It comes from the sacred covenant with what has chosen it. It comes from the commitment that your soul has made before you are born. And this commitment requires a truth that goes beyond appearances. It requires courage to stay firm, even when everything around it calls to the superficial. If you have already felt this loss of connection, if it has gone through phases where it seemed that everything crumbly, and that made nothing more sense, if he has already looked in the mirror and felt that he was moving away from something important within him, perhaps that was exactly the moment when his spiritual essence was calling you back, because Scorpio may even forget who it is for a while, but your soul never forgets, and she will remind you, even if it is for her discomfort, by the emptiness, for the absence of signs, because sometimes the lack of protection is the silent scream of the invisible saying, "Come back, remember, renaissance." And if now, while listening to this, you felt that these words were talking directly to you, if you came to light any memory, a sense of spiritual vu-vu, or that shiver that does not lie down here, I'm going back to my essence, or reactive my spiritual protection. These phrases are more than statements. They are energy commitments to their own field. And if you really felt that, like this video now and subscribe. The next revelation will show you how to restore this connection in full force, even after you have moved away from it. And in the comments, share, what was the moment when you felt most lost your spiritual protection? This sharing may be the password that another soul needed to remember that there is still time to return. If you have gotten here, maybe there is no doubt anymore. Something inside you was touched, remembered, activated, as if every word, every silence between the sentences had echoed somewhere very old in his soul. And perhaps because this place was never asleep really, just waiting for you to look again at him. Because this journey we are doing is not just about the sign of Scorpio, it is about a spiritual frequency, a forgotten memory, a call that does not respect logic, but pulsates hard in the heart of those who came into the world with a silent mission. You are not just a sign. You are part of a lineage, of a hidden spiritual code, from a story that is repeated in layers and layers of existence until someone finally says, I remember. Scorpio, in this planetary moment, is among the few signs capable of carrying this role of spiritual transition. He feels, even without understanding. He carries pains that he doesn't know how to explain, but deep down, they are not only his, they are from the collective. He observes, absorbs, overflows, and even when you silence, it's acting. Even when you don't speak, it's cleaning. Even when it moves away, it is protecting. Therefore, it is no exaggeration to say that Scorpio is not a sign. It is a seal, an energetically marked seal for something much larger than conventional astrology can explain. It is the living memory of the crossing, the bridge lived between worlds. And when we talk about Anubis, we are not just talking about an Egyptian deity. We are talking about an archetypal symbol that represents those who guide without being seen, that protect without being recognized, that support the invisible so that others can safely cross. Anubis does not walk with the weak of mind. He walks with those who endure to lose everything and still keep his eyes fixed on the invisible. He walks with those who recognize silence as sacred language, with those who know that true power need not be proved. It is only. And when this frequency finds the heart of someone who carries the sign or scorpion energy true, it settles as a mission. So if you identified with everything that has been said, if you felt your breath change, if your mind stopped for a moment and your soul seemed to say, I know, then don't ignore it, because that was not a common feeling. It was a sign. It was your spirit by responding to a call that you may not even know you were listening. And that needs to be sealed. It needs to be anchored in word, in gesture, in conscious presence. Because spiritual portals do not open with knowledge only. They open with true intention. And you just went through one. Now what you do with it, it's your decision. This moment is an invitation to seal this portal with conscience. And when I say sealing, I don't mean closing. I refer to consolidating. To assert to the universe that you have not only heard the call but is ready to walk with it. Ready to carry this energy with dignity, with delivery, with the responsibility it requires. Because you know this is not just about you. It is about everyone who will still cross your way, and that will somehow be touched by this frequency that now vibrates stronger within you. So if you feel this is real, comment now below, I was marked by Anubis. This phrase is not a signature. It is a spiritual seal, and it doesn't have to be understood by everyone. It only needs to be recognized by those who also carry this call. And if you are watching this and feeling that truth expand in your chest, enjoy this video now, not only as a gesture of support, but as a vibrational movement, as a silent vote that you want this message to reach other guardians who are still sleeping, to other Scorpion souls who still need to remember who they are. If you know someone from Scorpio who needs to hear it, share. You may be delivering the key he has waited for a lifetime to receive. And if you are not subscribed to the channel, subscribe now. Because in the next episode, let's talk about the sign that keeps the secret of time itself, a sign sealed with the energy of the divine structure, the sign that protects the code from eternity. If you know someone of Capricorn, tell him to prepare, because what comes next is not an explanation, it is a revelation. And before you end, answer me here in the comments. What was the moment of your life when you felt that you were being guided by something invisible but extremely real? Describe, detail, feel, because perhaps your story is the mirror that another soul needs now to wake up. If you stayed here, it is because this message has played something deep inside you, and that already says a lot about your spiritual journey. You are not here by chance, and you felt every word, so this connection needs to continue. So subscribe now to the channel so as not to lose the next episodes of this series. Each video is a piece of this spiritual puzzle that is revealing itself, and you are part of it. Like this video has felt that something has been activated inside you. Your like helps this message reach other souls that are also ready to wake up. And comments down here. I arrived until the end. I'm ready to remember who I am. This phrase is not just a comment, it is a code of spiritual presence. I want R, who walked with me until the last second. And now, don't leave without watching the next video that is here on the left side of the screen. It is the direct continuation of this journey, and the next revelation may be exactly what you were looking for a long time. I see you there.